Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast, the show where two regular guys dive into everything from sports, comedy, movies, whatever you name it, we talk about it. Travis is not here this week, but I've got two lovely guests with us, one lovely, one ugly, and we're going to talk a little bit about 4th of July vacation and some sports and some stuff that's going on in the world today. So keep it tuned right here to the Gray Area Podcast. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed.
All right, and we're back. So let's introduce our guests today. I'm going to start on the far left, and then we'll finish in the center. This over here is, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Chris Bateman. I am Brooks' brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. So you know, the sister's in town, and they brought friends with them. The kids are here, and this is the lovely Avayla. She is my niece, and they all got to come down for the 4th of July and vacation away from Indiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what do you think about Texas, Lala?
It's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Is it hot?
Yeah.
Very hot, huh? Yeah. Is it big?
Mm-hmm.
Texas is big. Yeah, we haven't traveled very far, but there's a lot to see in Texas. So Chris, tell us, how was it traveling to the airport with 3 kids and your wife?
It was pretty interesting. Fort Wayne wasn't as bad as Atlanta, so
Yeah.
we flew into Atlanta, got a connecting flight here straight back down to Houston, and I think they wanted to sightsee more at the airport than try to get to our terminal to get us where we needed to go in a timely fashion. So we had a good time. Nobody got lost. Everybody got here, no luggage lost, so we're all good.
I heard it was a pain to
What
to
do you
keep
mean nobody got lost?
Well, somebody got lost?
No, they found their way.
Lala got lost?
No, there towards the end when we got here to Houston, Noah and I and Mia were just on a mission to get to the baggage claim so we could get Sam's bag, and I kept looking back, checking on them, and I could still see them, and we had to pop off down a little escalator to get to baggage claim, and Sam calls me. She's like, "Where are you guys at?" And I'm like, "We're at baggage claim. Just take the escalator down to the right, and you'll find us." So
you lost my sister.
yeah, for a second.
Aunt Sam, huh? Well, Aunt Sam said that you were like a lost puppy dog, just staring at everything and wandering around. Which you're dragging your baggage around and just looking and then just following where your eyes go. Was it cool in the airport?
Yeah.
It was your first time flying, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how did that go for you?
It was pretty good.
Yeah?
The second flight was way better than the first.
Was it?
The first flight was really cramped, and it was good, but it wasn't like the second flight.
The second flight had more seats, bigger space?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you have any crying babies on the airplane?
One. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
It wasn't that bad, but
Yeah.
Well, going on boarding the plane, the kid was just crying, just nonstop. And then once we got onto the plane, it actually settled down. So thankfully, but they were farther up in the front of the plane than what we were.
that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of flying?
I would say
Napping?
I didn't really nap in the plane.
Oh, you did too.
No, I didn't.
We have pictures and videos to prove it.
No, I didn't.
That's your
I
story.
was resting my eyes.
Okay.
I wasn't napping.
All right, Grandpa.
Okay.
Grandpa. That's what Grandpa says. I was resting my eyes. I wasn't snoozing. So what'd you think of the takeoff and the landing?
It was good.
Good?
For the
Everything's
first
just
time.
good?
Yeah. Everything's just good.
So on our way down from Fort Wayne to Atlanta, the pilot did say that like the whole stretch of Indiana was just nothing but weather, rain and whatnot. So I don't know exactly where we were at, but we did hit a pretty good pocket of turbulence.
Did?
Yeah, you might have been sleeping during that.
Resting your eyes.
Yeah, resting your eyes. Sorry.
Did you get to watch a movie?
The second flight did have a TV, but I didn't really watch a movie because they didn't have my favorite movie on, so I decided I don't want to watch it.
So what'd you do?
They did have music on it,
Okay.
so I probably just listened to music the most of the second flight.
Yeah.
Then the first flight, I mostly just read.
Read.
Yeah,
That's good.
because I had my favorite book.
Oh, what's your favorite book?
It's my new one. It's called IRL.
In real life. IRL.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good.
It's a scary book, but it's not actually really scary.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Lala, tell us, what have we done on vacation?
It's been interesting.
Has it?
Yeah. Well, we've been swimming a lot.
Yeah.
We went to the fireworks on 4th of July.
Oh, that's right.
Why?
We also Top Golf.
Went to Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah, went to Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. We went to that restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that restaurant.
We're not going to talk about that restaurant.
The restaurant named Pluckers.
Yeah.
And what happened at that restaurant, Lala?
I don't want to say.
Oh, I will say.
No.
Yeah, so.
We
don't
probably
have to.
we probably have a video we
Oh,
can probably upload to it to show everybody.
No.
How about we do that?
Yeah. So we went to Pluckers after Top Golf, so Lala is what we call Avayla, and her birthday just happened last
2
weekend.
weeks?
2 weeks. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks now, and so we decided to have the Pluckers crew sing her happy birthday. Well, what they do is they make you put these little cone cups in your mouth and quack like a duck or a chicken, and then you put these what were they, menus
Yeah, menus.
under your arms, and you flap at the same time,
Yeah.
and they sing happy birthday, and then she
It
got
was not fun.
yeah,
It was too.
it was. She was so mad at me. She was like,
And the thing was, I was so tired, and then after I realized that's why you came and it was talking to me.
yeah, she was almost asleep on the table after lunch or dinner actually, and I walked over. I was like, I gotta keep her awake. They're gonna come out any minute now, and so she's over head down on her table, and I was like, Lala, do you like brownies and ice cream?
Yeah, I like brownies, but I don't like all brownies.
Oh yeah.
Like I like really soft ones, but the hard ones are not my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, and those were kind of hard.
Yeah,
The ones that they gave us. So I mostly just ate the ice cream.
Yeah. So yeah, she got a free ice cream and ice cream brownie. The ice cream makes the brownie hard because it's cold. That's why. If it was just the brownie, it would have been warm and gooey, and delish. But anyways, so she got up and she performed for the whole restaurant. And again, I got daggered eyes after that and punches. But it was really fun.
Yeah, definitely, except for the part.
So, what did you do? What was you went to Buc-ee's, you said?
Yep.
So, what was your favorite part about Buc-ee's?
I would say probably the picture with Bucky.
Oh yeah, you got a picture
Yeah,
with
that
him.
was one of the favorites.
Yeah. Did they have? There's a lot of stuff in that store.
Yeah.
It's like a mall.
Yeah.
Did you buy anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you get? Do you remember?
Well, I got a lot of jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
One didn't show up.
It didn't show up.
Well, not show up. It probably fell out of the cart. Well, this is actually one of them.
Oh.
I have one of them on.
Oh, nice.
I got a Buc-ee's 4th of July shirt.
Mm.
I wore, and then I got a present for someone.
Oh.
For
Is
me?
it
No.
for me?
Oh my
No.
goodness.
For Aunt Nene over there?
No.
Remember, that's the necklace.
So, is it for Gigi?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I was on call with her and she saw it.
Oh.
And I was like, no, that's not for you. It's for someone else. And she got,
Who likes chickens?
Shh, can't give away the gift. I'm sure Gigi's gonna watch this.
she doesn't watch your videos.
Way to rat them out.
Dang, I'm gonna have to get onto
I'm
them.
not holding anything back today.
She doesn't watch your videos.
Yeah, she doesn't.
My own mom doesn't watch my videos.
All she does is really watch crime shows.
Watch crime shows.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to talk
Or
crime
Marvel.
on here in
Marvel.
order to get her to watch.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe.
So what else have you done since you've been here?
I've had an ear infection.
Oh yeah. How'd you get that?
Swimmers there.
Swimmers ear. Yeah. Swimming in the pool a lot.
About 5 hours a day in the pool.
Not 5 hours.
Oh, it's probably close to it.
Yeah. It's
How
like.
5 hours?
We spent a lot of time.
Yeah. So we did Top Golf, Bucky's, 4th of
We
July.
haven't talked about Top Golf.
Well, we said it, but so how did Top Golf go for
It
you?
was my first time to Top Golf.
Really?
It was I liked it. It was nice.
Yeah. Was it hard?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also hard with you telling me everything.
Well, we're just trying to help you out.
I know you, but you kept coming over and telling me how to stand.
Because I wanted to see you hit the ball way out there, not.
Was
a
it your?
little bit.
What, yeah. Was it your first time
I
swinging?
had to focus.
Oh.
Yeah, Uncle Chris, you ruined her focus.
Yes.
Sorry.
So was that your first time swinging a golf club?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
You did really well though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you're hitting the ball well.
Yeah.
You might have a future in golf.
Ooh. Yeah.
Next time I go to my best friend lives on the golf course.
Oh.
Maybe next time I'll show her how better I've gone because we've done it I think once.
Yeah.
But I actually I think I did go. It was my first time and I did not do well. Not too well.
Yeah. So what else have we done? Do you remember? Is there anything else that we've done? We've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about fireworks. Oh yeah, we did fireworks in the cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
You got to shoot off a Roman candle. Remember that one where you were holding it up? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
That
sparklers.
was fun. That was
Sparklers.
really fun. We've done.
You get to hang. You get what?
We stayed home alone once.
Whoa, whoa.
It was. We just watched movies the whole time, basically.
Yeah. So when
Or we played hide and seek.
yeah, you've been with your cousins, your
Yeah.
sister.
We've watched the same movie 2 times,
Golly, that sounds interesting.
and then we started watching this movie. But, well, I think that movie was first, and then we started watching that. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So have you had fun?
Yeah.
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 Well, last night, talking about you staying by yourself, last night we had an adult night, didn't we?
Yeah.
So me, Chris, my sister, Aunt, or Aunt.
But the other night, before last night, they were supposed to go, but then I had to go to the doctor because my ear
Yep.
infection, because
Yep.
it got really bad.
Yeah.
What was the best part about going to the doctor?
Starbucks.
Oh,
Starbucks.
so you got to tell them the story on that.
So, the really lucky thing is, when the doctor we went to, there was a Starbucks next door.
Mm.
So, after Uncle said, "How about we go to get some ice cream?" I said, "Oh, well, here's the funny thing about that. There's a Starbucks next door." And then we got Starbucks. And I didn't bring my glasses, so I couldn't see the menu, but then it popped in my head. Oh, I remembered my order, because I don't go to Starbucks that much.
Was that like a triple shot is what you get?
Espresso,
The
triple
shot,
shot.
espresso,
No,
and
I get
all the goodies?
a Frappuccino with no espresso, no
Oh, okay.
caffeine, and then I get a vanilla bean. And then my favorite coffee shop is probably Five Lakes Coffee, because when we go to Meijer usually to go grocery shopping, they have a Five Lakes Coffee there. So I usually get a caramel toffee with, I think it's called a toffee, I don't know,
That works.
a caramel toffee with no caffeine, no espresso, and it's always usually that
Yeah.
with all my. It's usually vanilla, or I just went on I found a caramel toffee. I usually just got a vanilla there, so and it was new there, so I'm like, let's try it. So and it was. Now it's my new order.
Well, good. So who spoils you and takes you to all these Five Lakes?
Grandpa
Your grandpa?
usually takes me to Five Lakes, and if we're in town and we're not going shopping, I usually get Starbucks.
So we're gonna have to talk to Grandpa, huh? I got to tell you, when me and Uncle Chris went to go get donuts, I was talking to Grandma Gigi, and I said, "Oh, Lala loves Red Bull." I said she's been drinking Red Bull the whole time she's been here.
You said that?
I did, because I was like, "Oh, she's not supposed to have caffeine." Well, we've been feeding her Red Bull and coffee and everything. So,
Why did you say that?
because I wanted you to go back home and say, "Grandma, I want a Red Bull. Uncle Brooks said I could have them."
Why?
Just to give her a hard time. So, yeah. Exciting time for you, huh? First time, third time in Texas, or second time?
Yeah, second time.
Second time in Texas?
Because the last time I didn't go.
The first time, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I went the first time.
No, that was it the first time? No, it was actually the second. Sam and Chris had came before that time. When you guys
the
drove
second time.
in the RV?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, and we went to the beach and stuff.
You
I know.
you were a little bit too small the first time we came down.
Yeah,
How small was I?
You were like that big.
that tall. Yeah.
So? So?
You weren't having any Starbucks at
No.
that age.
I was having it at Starbucks the second time either.
Right. Well, so yeah, it's been a fun trip down here. Chris, can you remember anything that's going on other than the adult night? We went to McIntyre's and Little Woodrow's,
That was a good time.
swinging and cornhole and a little bit of everything else. So.
Yeah. No, we just, like I said, there's a lot of relaxation and pool time and family time.
Sunburn.
Yes, I way too much time in the sun.
I don't get sunburn, but I get an ear infection.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
Something to slow you down, huh?
And it had to be the last 2 days we were here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, I can't find my phone.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Well,
Yeah.
luckily, it's like a monsoon out there today.
Yeah. It's downpouring,
It's
so
a lot of
hopefully,
rain. So
hopefully your phone's not in the yard.
Yeah.
It'll just float somewhere.
All right. You got anything else you want to say? You want to say hi to anybody? Any of your friends? You want to give a shout out to Gigi, Grandpa? What do you think?
I'm gonna tell my best friend to watch.
Tell her, say hi to her.
Well, if you are watching this, hi Ireland, and you better be watching it because I told you to. So
she probably doesn't even know what's out there. You're gonna have to tell her when we get back.
Or did you text? Oh, you didn't. You don't even have your phone.
Yeah.
I don't even have my phone. So how am I supposed to?
We'll find it. Why do you keep looking at yourself on this computer?
I'm not. I'm not.
All right. We're going to take a break, come right back. Lala's going to head on out, and me and Chris are going to finish this thing up. Keep us tuned right here. We'll be right back.
What's up? Bye. Bye.
You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed.
Welcome back to the Gray Area Podcast. Lala has stepped aside, and now it's grown-up talk. So Chris is from the north, and up from where I'm from originally, Northeast Indiana. We are big Notre Dame fans.
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot going on in the Notre Dame program right now.
It was a very good 4th of July.
It was a great 4th
Very
of
good.
July. So Marcus Freeman, the leader of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, has really turned up recruiting. So what'd they land on the 4th?
We got Fitzgerald out of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
You got another a Finley kid from here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
There was another wide receiver that they got too. I can't remember his name right now, but out of Texas. So I mean, historically Notre Dame has been terrible at recruiting in the southern states. And,
Right.
California they would get some things like that, but since Marcus Freeman's got in there, they have really turned it up on these SEC schools and really expanding their horizon on recruiting, and a lot of people are buying in, and it's I don't know what this year is going to hold, but the 26 year is going to be top notch, I believe.
So the last few years, Notre Dame has went to the transfer portal for a quarterback.
Yes.
Which was, who was the first one? The flowy hair guy. Why can't I say his name?
I know.
and then Riley.
Yep.
Riley Leonard last year from Duke. Both, why can't I say the first quarterback's name? Anyways, I wasn't impressed with him. I mean, he was a manager.
Right.
He wasn't he didn't have the X factor to me.
Correct.
And then Riley Leonard, he was a dual threat quarterback. He did have a little bit of X factor, but I think the pressure kind of got to him. I know he took him to a national championship game, but I felt like there was a little bit of tapped potential that wasn't reached.
Correct.
And that would have actually got them over the hump at the Natty. And now, we have Minchie and C.J. Carr, and then we had the dude that just transferred. Why can't I say his name? Angeli.
Yep.
Angeli has been a backup for years at Notre Dame, now at Clemson, I believe. But so the quarterback race is between C.J. Carr and Minchie.
Correct.
And I believe C.J. is going to be the guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the one that's going to stand out the most and eventually take it over.
So, which is good because he's a sophomore?
Correct.
So he's got a lot of years ahead of him. This will probably be his toughest year learning as the head man at Notre Dame. As we all know, the head quarterback at Notre Dame is one of the toughest things to do.
I'm sure it is.
It comes with a lot of publicity, a lot of pressure. I think that's one of the things that was it Hartman?
Yep.
Yeah, Hartman was the other quarterback. That's one of the things that he had talked about too when he took that.
Well, I mean, you got to look at some of these kids too. I mean, you're coming into one of his, historically probably one of the biggest programs in history. I mean, looking back all the way to the Four Horsemen, I mean, early on. So, Joe Montana, things like that. I mean, those are big shoes you have to fill. But, not only that, it's just the amount of pressure that's probably put onto these kids too, to go to these colleges and perform. I mean, not just Notre Dame. I'm talking, Texas or, Oklahoma, Ohio State, things like that. So
yeah,
I can only imagine what these kids are going through too.
Right. And, this team, just coming off a natty loss, is bringing back a lot of studs.
Correct.
Leonard in the backfield, on the defensive side, you have Price and Love.
Wasn't Love, didn't he turn down like a $4 or $5 million NIL deal to go to, I don't remember what school it was, but he turned it down to stay at Notre Dame just because of what Marcus Freeman and that coaching staff is doing right now.
Yes, that's right. I did hear that he turned it down. They're just stacked. I mean, they did have the Urlacher kid.
Right.
Is he still there, or did he transfer out?
I believe he transferred.
I think he transferred. Where did he go? Do you know?
No, I didn't.
No. But there's a lot of high-profile names coming through there. Plexico Burris's kid, Fitzgerald's kid. We just had Bettis's kid. Yeah, that brings a lot of attention to a program. Right. And then that's all. Not only that, but it is also a lot of pro looks.
Right.
Onto a program when you bring former pros kids.
When you start dropping kids like that, those names are coming in. I mean, it can only elevate, what everybody else is wanting to do.
Right.
I mean, if I was a kid that, had an offer from Notre Dame and it's like, Jerome Bettis's kid is going there, Fitzgerald kid's going there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, okay, what are these guys seeing that I'm not seeing?
Right.
And, why should I not jump on ship and go as well?
Right. Well, Notre Dame is a storied program, so why not have more storied names?
Right.
So here's the other thing. When you're also taking a risk when you pick up one of these kids, because you don't know how they're going to perform, if they're going to perform like their parents did back in the day, but they do come from good genetics.
Yes. Well, right? I mean, it's like all the ones we just talked about right now with, Fitzgerald and Finley and a couple of other guys. I mean, these guys are coming in not this year, but the following year for a class of 26. So they still have their senior years to do whatever they're going to do wherever they're playing at now, and only build and grow into hopefully what we're hoping they're going to be.
Right. It's definitely, the program is definitely looking up, and with Notre Dame being a national program because of the televised deal with NBC, with that comes a lot of haters. right?
Yeah.
Nationwide haters. It's kind of reminiscent to the Cubs, right?
Yes.
So the Cubs are kind of, in my mind, they're a nation franchise, and that there are a lot of people who love the Cubs nationwide, but you also have a lot of people that hate them, right?
I mean, I think a lot of it with the Notre Dame thing even is, there's always every year there's talk and complaints about them not being in a conference
Right.
per se. Being able to go out and pick and choose who they want to play.
Right.
Which I mean, if I was a coach in a program, I would rather it be that way than saying, okay, you have to play these schools that are in our conference and still walk all over them.
Mm-hmm.
But then, well, they don't play in a conference championship.
Right.
They don't do this or they don't do that. Well, I mean, look at Notre Dame's schedule over the last year or two. I mean, they've right out of the gates, we're playing Miami this year?
Yeah, Miami.
Your first game,
A&M.
59 days.
Yep.
Last year we did A&M,
Yep.
right? First game of the year. So there's a lot of other college teams that are great or programs that are great that are, all right, we're going to play, St. Francis the first game of the year.
Right.
It's a small town college where up by us, so that's a reference.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio. You do have that kind of like a warm up game,
Yep.
and then and it's a complete blowout.
Yep.
But here's the other thing about scheduling is you really don't know who's going to be good
Correct.
the next year, right? So like when we started with Miami that year, they didn't end up being good
Right.
that year, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of hype.
Yeah,
There's
there's
about them being good.
right.
The pieces didn't fall together for them.
Exactly. So and just like A&M ended up being a above mediocre team. Not taking away from them, they have a lot of talent on that team, and it was I was at that game, and it was a really good game, close game, but with it being the first game of the year, you don't know what's going to happen. You got a lot of kids that are still learning this stuff, and
Correct.
then having to do it in prime time, right? So there's a lot of nerves and game day and stuff like that. But no, I'm really excited for this Notre Dame team. I think. Well, let's ask you. What are your predictions on record this year? Put you on the spot.
I would say probably one loss.
One loss, yeah.
I would venture to say. I mean, last year was a fluke with the Northern Illinois.
Right.
But it could happen to anybody.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter what collegiate level you go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I try to tell kids that I coach in baseball and things like that. I'm like, if you make it to the college level, you're a stud.
Right.
So
D1.
it doesn't really matter.
D2.
You're right.
Yeah, whatever.
So I mean, on any given day, any of these teams are beatable
Mm-hmm.
as long as you put the right game plan together, which Northern Illinois did with Notre Dame last year.
They did.
And the cool thing with that was, after the game, the coach went and with Marcus Freeman, from Notre Dame, and was like, hey, if you need anything in the future, let us know. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe the week after, Freeman was chatting with the Northern Illinois coach on like, what did you guys see on tape that we didn't see that you guys could use against us to beat us? So I mean, that was kind of cool.
Yeah. After that, well, that guy is from Fort Wayne, Indiana, too.
Yeah.
The head coach. So one of the things that I saw, the biggest difference that I saw was mentality.
Right.
Right. It's always the same song and dance with Notre Dame last year. It was we'll get up and then we'll just pump the brakes and
Correct.
and then they're going to catch us and make it close.
Correct.
But I saw a lot more intensity on the field throughout the whole game. So we'll see. I think it's a one-loss year. I don't know who that loss is. It's all dependent on the starting quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I come across the what was it on Netflix? They had what was it, like a four series show on the Irish. Did you ever see that? I think it was on Netflix.
Here Come the Irish?
Yeah.
No, that was on Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So watching that, I mean, that was really interesting to see. Like,
Yeah.
Going into your coaches' meetings, your player meetings, and Freeman sitting down with his captains at a table like this, and
Yeah.
discussing different things. And I mean, it was really, really cool that they did that, and showing the progression and showing what Freeman is about. I mean, so being, so we're literally 50 minutes from South Bend, and this past year we're still playing now, but my son plays on the South Bend Cubs 13U travel baseball team. So we're with a bunch of family members
Hold on a
from that
second.
area.
Hold on a second. I don't know what just happened. Start that over again.
So my son this past year, currently we're still playing. We got one more tournament left, but he plays for the South Bend Cubs 13U travel ball baseball team out of South Bend. So by us going up there and meeting up with obviously families from that area, I mean, there's just a lot of talk, about Freeman and about the program in that area that is just everybody is hysterical about what the horizon looks like.
Yeah. The ceiling is attainable. You know, it's really, it's a different time, right?
Yeah.
We've come through a lot of lull years.
Yeah.
You know, the Brian Kelly era. You know, we had a lot of wins, but we just weren't there.
Correct.
So, and then 3 years into Marcus Freeman, we're in the Natty.
Yeah. So I mean, the same thing with when Brian Kelly come in. I mean, what was his third year?
Third year.
We made it to the national championship and just got flat out smoked
by Alabama.
Right.
So one of the things that you brought up the Northern Illinois game, and everything that I hear online is Northern Illinois is stuck it to Notre Dame, so Notre Dame's awful, this, that, and the other. How many times has Alabama lost to a no-name team like Troy, or I don't even know who they've lost to, but some no-name team, and not a word is said about that when they win the Natty?
No, it's like I said, it's just reputation and who you are, right?
Yeah. But that's what chaps me. It is what it is. The internet's full of trolls, and
Correct.
Nobody can have their flowers.
Yes.
So,
but I mean, even living so close to, Ann Arbor, and I mean, we're not that far from Columbus either,
Right.
with their football programs. But, I mean, at least we don't have the shadow, or not the shadow, but the gray looking over our program for what we've done in the past.
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm pretty confident that Notre Dame has done everything the correct way.
Yeah.
But, we're not in any scandals. There's not really a lot of talk about anything like that with that program.
Right. And, when there are things, because things do happen, that one year we had a bunch of kids that got suspended. We had wins vacated because of, grades or whatever. But that wasn't a big ordeal. I mean, it was a big ordeal, but it wasn't something that ruined a deal. And then when Brian Kelly's had that kid up on the deal and he died falling out of that lift in the wind. But, you definitely don't have any cheating scandals, any coaching scandals. That's awesome to not have to deal with. So, trust me. I live here south of Houston. We know about scandals and cheating. Astros, we have to live with it every day. Astros sweep the Dodgers. What up, Dodgers fans?
Yeah.
He's a Cubs fan.
I'm a Cubbies fan.
Which 2-1 series win. Astros, Cubbies fans.
We're coming.
Yeah, you guys are. We could take a pivot to baseball, but you guys have really had a great year.
Yeah. I mean, from the last several to where they're at today, I mean, it's night and day difference.
Well, what do you attribute that to? Because you have like Pete Crow Armstrong and some guys that aren't really big names, other than you have Kyle Tucker. So you got Kyle Tucker from us,
yes,
and you traded Isaac Paredes and Cam Smith, who are both killing it for the Astros right now.
Yep.
And Tucker's done a pretty good job this year. So what is going on?
I mean, it might just be the room.
Yeah.
I mean, the players that you have, and I mean, I see it even with, high school kids and things like that. I mean, if you get a good group of people around yourself or around your team, good things are going to happen, But I mean, it's, like I said, it's a crapshoot with any of these players.
Yeah.
Even with, like you said, with the players that got traded to Houston for Tucker, they might have been okay, but give them the limelight and give them the opportunity to do it, and they're just going to take off and shine.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, hit and miss.
Do you think that's attributed to Council managing that club? Do you think he's a player's coach?
I think a lot of, I mean, if I was playing, I mean, being a former player, him being a former player, and I mean, he was good.
Yeah.
And taking that on and going that route, I mean, when Ross took over, I mean, I thought that would be a good
I did
deal
too.
for a couple of years. I mean, I thought it would last longer than it did, but just from him being, watching you see the series on Netflix with the Cubs for the the championship year. With just all the stuff there, being the grandpa of the club, and
Right.
and then taking it over. I thought that was going to last, but
No.
no, not everything's meant to be.
So is the what's the Theo? Is he still running that? Theo Epstein? Is he still running the
I believe
Cubs?
so,
GM.
yes.
He did a heck of a job in Boston.
Yes, he did.
So do you know his story? So how he actually was in Oakland, and he was under Billy Beane, and you guys have all seen the movie Moneyball, which is about Billy Beane and building up the Athletics. And then Boston, oh yeah, you probably watched the deal on Netflix too. And then Boston was looking for a GM,
Yep.
and they wanted Billy Beane. They offered Billy Beane, and he didn't want to leave his daughter, right, or something like that.
Yep.
And he suggested Theo Epstein
Correct.
for the job. So then they hired this young kid to come in and manage one of the most storied franchises in baseball. And then they won a World Series.
Yeah,
I think it was like year 2.
He was he had to have been in his early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't very old.
No, he
He was
wasn't.
this young cat.
Right. And then they had that whole, kind of like a golden era
Yep.
in Boston with Big Papi and
Yeah, but I mean, you got to look at
Varitek.
some of those players, though, man.
Oh,
Some of
yeah.
those, I mean, you had, Pedro, you had,
Mm-hmm.
at times you had Schilling, you had,
Yeah.
I mean, some really, not Big Papi, but Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez,
know.
Varitek, you had Johnny Damon.
Yes.
Who's the one guy?
The
He was,
shortstop. No, starts with an N. Not Nemo. Garcia.
oh, Nomar. No, yeah, they
Nomar.
did him dirty
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Kevin Millar.
Yes.
He was kind of the glue to that whole thing.
Yes, he
and
was.
he's from Beaumont, which is like an hour east of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, down home country boy.
Yes, he was. 100%.
That if you get a chance, go to Netflix and watch that. It's about the Boston Red Sox in Game 7 or something like
Correct.
that. It was the biggest comeback and against the Yankees.
Well, it was during for pretty much that whole series because
right.
if you remember, the Yankees jumped up 3-0 on them.
That's right.
And then Schilling had his
The bloody sock.
the bloody sock game.
Yeah.
And they came back and won 4 games in a row and
Right.
to win the World Series that year. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of cool programs on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Documentaries about teams and even the Full Swing for the golf. I don't know
Oh,
if
I
you-
haven't
if
seen
you
it, but I
caught
want to
into
watch
that.
it. Yeah.
So I mean, Netflix is really doing a good job on
Yeah.
documenting some of these great programs and great things that are going on.
That's one of the things that I get to watch with Bryce. He's big into baseball. Is we'll sit down and watch a documentary on we watched that Boston Red Sox documentary, and it's just he's not from the golden era of baseball,
Right.
Like the mid '90s to 2000, and so just him getting to relive that experience and me reliving it with him
Yeah.
is pretty cool. But a lot of the things that we experienced through '90s baseball. Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Even though they were on roids, it revived baseball.
Yes, it did.
Right? Watching Barry Bonds hit his 700 and some odd home run to take the record. That Barry Bonds was a guy you did not want to face. He was walked. You could take every at-bat that he was technically on steroids, take it off of his record, and he'd still be the best. He had the best batting average or whatever
Yeah.
it was. It was just, it was a really cool time.
Yeah, because I remember the year that Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were going at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And man, it was like any opportunity you had to find that game
Watch
on
it.
TV.
Yep.
Because back then, channels were limited.
Right.
For the most part.
For us in the country.
Correct. And trying to watch it, and I'll never forget the day that Mark did hit the record. And it was against
70?
the Cubs. So the year that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, they were head to head. I mean, they were within a couple home runs every day. Or Mark would jump up 1 or 2, and then Sammy would catch up, and that race was just unbelievable watching that. But I remember watching when Mark did finally break the record, and they were playing the Cubs, and you see him and Sammy out there, and they're Sammy's doing his little whatever, and Mark McGwire's trying to imitate him, and things like that. But like I said, there's
I don't understand why he's doing it.
going back in the history of some of these sports, it's like I wish some of these kids could actually
Yeah.
fully watch and understand,
Right.
What some of these teams were, like you said, some of the great players, watching growing up. I mean, I was a big Greg Maddux fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, because in the summertime, my grandparents had a cottage on the lake. I'd go out there and spend most of my summer out there, and the only channels we'd get would be Channel 9, WGN out in Chicago. So you'd sit there and watch, Cubs games.
Right.
But I mean, Greg Maddux, it's like I try to, tell a lot of these younger kids, it's like, you don't have to throw 105 miles an hour.
Right.
If you can throw in your 90s, low 90s or whatever, but you're hitting your spots where you want them to hit.
That's all you need.
It's all you need.
Control over speed.
Right. And he was a phenomenal pitcher just because he could do that.
That's right. Yeah, and then you take the other side of that coin. You had Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Who could throw gas.
Yep.
Although he still hit his spots.
Right.
But he could. I mean, I would say he's more of a gas pitcher,
Yes.
right? And he was just so gritty. Like, I kind of see a lot of Nolan Ryan tendencies in some of these baseball players today, like a Hunter Brown who pitches for the Astros now. They're just out there to dominate the batter and intimidate them.
Right.
Right. So when Nolan would pitch, he would throw a high fastball and stare you down.
Yeah.
He was just this is my plate, and if you got a problem about it, I'm gonna come at you.
So you remember him hitting Robin Ventura?
Oh yeah, the
the White
famous
Sox?
fight. The famous fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he plucks him, and he charges the mound, and they get into a scuffle. And didn't Nolan Ryan have a bloody nose?
I think or Robin was bloody.
Okay. So he just scuffs it off his shirt, grabs the ball on the mound, and
Yep.
finishes the game.
Keep going. Yeah, you don't have that anymore. No.
So I liked watching him pitch too.
Yeah. Just there was a lot that happened in the 90s baseball, right? I know we just talked about McGuire and Sosa. Do you remember when Sosa had the corked bat?
Yep.
I was watching that game.
Yes.
And that was a big deal. But you had people like Kirby Puckett.
Mm-hmm.
You remember him? Smaller guy. Kind of reminds me of a little bit, had the Altuve type of, he was bigger than Altuve, I think. He was also much heavier, but the kind of a player that goes all out.
Yeah.
Risks their body. Man, that's a sad story about Kirby.
I mean, another one that really you don't hear much about is Tony Gwynn.
Oh, Tony, yeah.
Played for the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he still has the highest batting average
ever.
Career
Yeah.
batting average. I mean, that dude was just a straight baller.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, there's a lot of guys like that you never really hear about.
Yeah, the guys. I'm just gonna name off a few, and if any come to your brain, name them off. Wade Boggs,
Yep.
Fred McGriff, Moises Alou, Andre Dawson,
Mark Grace.
Ryan Sandberg.
You got Tommy Glavine.
Oh yeah, Glavine.
Smoltz.
Smoltz was dominant pitcher. Who else you got? Jeez.
We could probably sit here
I know.
for 2 hours.
It's just good to say their names, just because it brings back euphoria from the past, right? Takes you back to your childhood and tells me. At
Oh
least.
yeah.
But
Griffey Jr.
Oh, Junior, yeah, he was one of my favorites.
Buhner.
Oh, so Jay Buhner,
Right.
actually, he went to the same high school that my kids go to right now.
Correct.
His plaque is up on the baseball field, Jay Buhner. I'm surprised that it's not called Jay Buhner Field.
Yeah. Did you see his retirement when he retired?
No. Huh?
So when we get done here, you have to look it up and watch the video on it. It was actually pretty cool.
Really?
Because Griffey Jr. was sitting there, and I'm not going to go. The way he talked about different things in his life with kids and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty cool.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
We'll check it out.
It was pretty cool. If you can find it, I don't know if it's. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
Yeah. So I know we're on baseball. I want to kind of pivot to like the youth baseball because we're both big into the youth baseball, and you guys are now with the South Bend Cubs 13U. And how has that been for you? I know it's away from home. You guys don't typically have. You don't really have the scene that we have here, where it's like there's 100 teams in one area, tournaments every weekend. You probably still have tournaments every weekend, but you got to travel. So how's that been?
I mean, it's been we've enjoyed it. We've had a great time. I mean, this is the most traveling that we've done in a season. Every tournament that we do is either, 2 hours away at least, and as you know, with the seating and
Yeah.
pool play, things like that. I mean, we've had to spend a lot of time in a hotel this year. So Noah's really enjoyed it. I mean, we've met some great people, and I mean, we've played in some really competitive tournaments. I mean,
Let me ask you this. Has development been good for Noah?
I mean, I think he's kind of just maintained where he's at from last year to this year. But I mean, we do a lot of stuff on the side.
Yeah,
away
you
from
have
the team.
to. You have
away from the team. I mean, we go. We got a place up in Sturgis that we go to called Hitter's Edge.
Great people,
Yeah,
by the way.
Mike up there does a phenomenal job with the kids up there. Not only just baseball, but also softball too. And like I said, then with me being in charge of our rec league where we
Yeah.
live, I have access to the batting cages, to the things like that at our park, to where any time we can go out there and use tee or the pitching machine or do things on our own. But I mean, if you're not doing the work at home, off to the side, away from your team,
Yeah.
then you're not really going to grow as much as what you should.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. How do you judge a season in select ball? What is it you're wanting out of it?
I mean, I think going into it, it's the wins are nice. Winning tournaments and getting that big fancy ring
Yeah,
and
$20 ring.
yeah, right. Which the kids absolutely love and think it's the
Right.
greatest thing on earth, right? But I mean, if you're not learning and learning by your mistakes and things like that, then I mean, it's not really doing yourself any good.
Right. It's just a big money dump.
Right. And some of these teams, I don't know how much it is down here, but what some of the teams are asking up north it's crazy.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
So I'll tell you, I just got information on a team around here. You're going to pay for your uniform, okay? Which is, I don't know how much it could be, up towards $300, $400. And then you're paying $375 a month.
$375 a month. Okay, ours isn't probably that much.
Well, that's
so I mean, fortunately, we've never really had to do the payments.
Right.
Right. But I know the team that we were on this year, you had to put down like a $300 deposit right away within the first week of them calling you and telling you. And then if you wanted to do payments from, I don't know if it was like August or September to March, over the course of those months, then you could, which was like $200 some a month. So
yeah. So when I said $375, that's on a high end, right?
Yeah.
That's on one of the prestige select teams around here. When we coached a select team, we actually didn't have fees.
Right.
That was one of the things that we were blessed with, because we didn't want to have any kids or parents have a financial reason not to play baseball.
Yes.
You wanted to be able to have kids just come in and develop, and that's it. No worries at all from the parents. Thanks to JD, he's the one that really sponsored our team. Now, we did have to pay, tournament fees, which is like $60-$70 a tournament. He sponsored all our jerseys, cage time, all that stuff, field time. He sponsored all that. So we were really lucky to have him as our leadership on that team, and we could really solely focus on development.
Right.
And that's our gauge as a coach. Our gauge, we don't care about the wins. The wins are nice, yes. Kids love them. That's really all the kids care about.
Yes.
But
And some of the moms.
and yes, some of the parents. But it was like, our goal this year was to have as many kids on our team to make the Mickey Mantle team for high school. And we had 5 of our 12 make the Mickey Mantle team. And that is a huge accomplishment, because around here, 6A schools, which is, it's hard to get in. You got Clear Falls, they had 70 kids try out. Creek, they had like 30 kids. So LaPorte, they had 30 kids. Pasadena Memorial, 30 kids. And, so there's a lot of competition in this area. But you want to make sure they're developed for the next stage in life. And that's how it's that's how I look at a select season. And being as a coach, I know you're a coach and you see the same thing. As you're just not a coach on the select team, and you still see it from the stands. You can 100%. See from game one to game last one who's getting better, who's not, and where that comes in play is if they're learning in practice, putting in the work outside of practice, and head down, just go. You see that. You have those kids that just really don't care. They're just there to have fun with their friends. I can't fault them for that, but it does hurt the team if you want to win, and it hurts their individual feeling.
And I think a lot of, even with Noah comparing the northern baseball to down here, we're way behind.
Oh yeah.
Just because of the fact of it might be April, the second week in April before we actually get to go outside.
Yeah.
To do anything outside to practice. You can go into all these facilities and practice throughout the winter and early spring and whatever else, but there's only certain things that you can do inside of that building.
Yeah.
That doesn't even compare to having a fly ball hit to you off the bat. Try to track it and make the throws and do things like that. To where you guys are February probably playing tournaments down here.
January, February, March.
So you guys are kind of.
Yeah, we
almost
can.
year round if you really wanted to. You might have to bundle up a couple of tournaments.
Yeah, it gets cold.
But like I said, we can't do anything until
down
in Indianapolis at Grand Park, which is a humongous complex. It's a nice facility. They'll start having tournaments early August, early April. But still it's you're spending all this money on these composite bats and things like that.
You can't use in the cold.
You should. I've seen them used. And I highly recommend you not doing that.
Right.
But, there are some people that just allow their kids. I'm glad they have the means to do that.
So, which you just brought up bats. So, what's your favorite bat for the kids to use?
So I think everybody's different. Every kid's different. So the hype fire that we got from you guys when PG banned them.
Yep.
2 years ago? We got that one from you guys or whoever you got it from. That's been a really good bat for us.
Yeah.
I've seen the blue. Yeah, it was the blue hype fire.
The ice.
The ice. One of the kids on Noah's team currently. 3 or 4 tournaments in broke.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's even it's a big debate even going into our rec league. We do not allow USSSA bats in our rec league.
Just USA bats.
Just USA bats.
Yep.
Then when you get to the 14, 13, 14U, it has to be a drop 5 or drop 3.
Yep.
It can be a USA or a BB Core.
Oh, okay.
So
USSA trip?
No, just USA.
Oh, okay.
So they do make a drop 5 USA bat. So we allow that in our rec league, but other than that, no.
Yeah, the Easton Dub is real popular right now.
So we bought Noah one, or actually, he saved up enough money. He paid for half of it. And,
that's good.
We paid for the other half, and I'm like, if that's what you want to spend your money on,
Yeah.
then I guess we'll get it for you.
Well,
And and he's done really well. It's got some pop to it, but it's like, could you still do the same thing with this 1996 Easton bat that I used back in the day?
I think those were hot back then.
I think they were a lot hotter. Yeah, those were a lot hotter than what they are now.
Yeah. I think that's why they went to the USA bats.
Yeah, so who was it? One of the videos my son Noah likes to watch of where the guy gets all the new bats.
Bat Bros?
Yeah, Bat Bros. He actually had a video, I think, with one of the older barrel bats.
TPX?
No, it was an
was it
Easton.
Easton?
Had the green.
Oh, the green Easton on it?
Green Easton on it. And he was putting up some impressive
Yeah,
numbers.
jeez.
With that bat being almost 35 years old.
Golly.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the technology's changed a little bit, but still, the one piece
Yeah, all day.
all day long. I
Yeah.
mean,
The one thing I don't like about these dang bats is you can only use them for a season.
yeah.
You know, because then the bat changes what you have to have the next season. Well, I get that once you get to 12, 13, and 14, that's really how it is. However, if you're down here, this is what we run into, and I hate seeing this because it drives my kids nuts, is we're in a AAA tournament, and we make our kids use drop 3 bats, right? Well, they're using drop 5s, right? So, of course, drop 5s have a little more pop in it, right? And drop 5 hype fires or Easton Dubs, and it's like, why would you do your kids a disservice to allow them to swing that bat? Now my kids are like, well, they're cheating. They got to drop 5, and I was like, no, well, it's not illegal, and you could do the same thing, but we're not allowing it.
Right.
But it's just one of those things, man, where you just have it across the board. This is what you have to use.
Yeah, just keep following it down. So, like for even with USSSA, it's drop 10, right? That's what you got to have. Drop 8.
Yep.
Now we're at drop 5.
Yes.
Just keep following the pendulum down and making them do it. Because, I mean, next year, it's like, okay, yeah, go ahead and use your drop 5 this year, all year long, and then, all right, we're going to the high school level.
Yeah.
And you got to have
BB core.
a BB core bat or, drop 3.
Drop 3, right.
And some of these kids can't swing it.
No, right.
You know, and...
Well, some of them aren't even big enough to swing it, but they have to.
Right.
Well, I was just on Facebook. I'm on like a select, Facebook page where I can read everybody complain about Scooter and their tournaments at PG here. And that's what they're talking about is having kids, who are, 14U playing down a 13U or 12U and just raking on these kids. And it's just like, there has to be some sort of, and then the parents posting videos like, oh, my kid just raked all weekend. Oh, yeah, he raked on against a 12U team or whatever.
So, I mean, that's even going back to the USSSA thing to where, if you're 12 years old, but you're in, so that would be what grade? Like 7th, 6th, 7th?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the 7th grade, but you're 12 years old, you can play down.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So you're literally, like some of the fields that we're playing on, or I'm seeing around us for 12U is, 250.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're a 7th grader where you're technically a year older than what they are, but you're only 12, I mean, yeah.
So that's how Bryce is. Bryce is a 13-year-old 8th grader.
Yes.
And he's playing 14U, which he could be playing 13U.
Right.
But which is then you're basically playing with seventh graders. But I've never allowed him to do that because that's going to hurt him coming into high school.
Correct.
And he made the Mickey Mantle team.
No, I mean so even when I first started NOAA, we had we did T-ball for like 1 year. He was only like 4.
Mm-hmm.
And the following year, so we have a pitching machine league that we do.
Yep.
For 8U, we call it 8U. So 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually use the Louisville Slugger pitching machine.
Yeah.
It's got the arm, you fold the arm back, set the ball on there,
and it
push down the lever,
flings.
and then you pull the handle, and it has the arm that comes up. So we do that for our kids for 8U. And I saw that, and I'm like, well, heck, you're going to start playing at 5 years old.
Right.
Right. So we started him early enough to where even at 10U, he was only 8, but he was playing 10U.
10U, yeah, he's always played up.
And he's always played up. And then the last several years with our numbers, our numbers are dwindling with kids wanting to participate in baseball. He's had to play, 10U and 12U.
Mm-hmm.
He'd play some 12U games because they were short kids.
Yeah.
And then we get to 12U, he'd play up with the 14U because they were, needed a sub or needed to fill in. So, I mean, it's really done him a good deed by doing that.
Right.
Just by giving him the experience. And
well, I think when we came up that one summer, Bryce and him, Bryce played with him on
the 12U
team,
No.
and then they picked up on a 14U team.
Yes, yeah, you're correct.
At 12,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. That just popped up on my timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that was a lot of fun that time.
that's a bummer where you have areas like that where baseball is just dwindling,
Yeah.
numbers wise.
But I mean, it's just like a lot of those kids up there just want something to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They're not going to be making their Mickey Mantle team or
Right.
The high school team or whatever else. But hey, my buddy's playing, so I want to play.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids are that way to where you do get some super competitive families or kids that are on that team, and it's like, oh my gosh, my kid, our team sucks and whatever else. And I'm like, dude, listen, you're good enough. Go play travel ball, and then you can still do this on the side.
Right. Right.
You're just getting more practice and more reps and through the week and things like that. So
Yeah.
If your goal is to win this, then
Yeah.
this isn't really the league for you.
Right. Right. It's tough.
I mean, it's like this year, I think, Noah's on the 14U team. I mean, I think we've come close maybe 3 or 4 games of winning, but they didn't win a game.
Oh,
you know? And I'm like, dude, it is what it is.
Right.
I mean, you're there to have fun and have, a lot of these kids you played with since T-ball.
Sure.
Or 8U.
Yeah.
So just make it the best you can.
Right. Right.
Maybe they all look up to you because you play travel ball and this and that, but
Yeah, they think he's a stud. And he's
Just,
going to carry the team.
you can only do so much,
Right.
We limit it on their pitches.
Yeah.
Or innings pitched, I should say, and things like that. So
Well, it's the opposite here. I mean, you still do have your kids that where the parents make them play ball. They don't really want to be out there, but there's still always, every year, there's a ton of kids that come out for Little League. It's very competitive. We have a draft, so that kind of helps even out the teams. But man, I tell you what, you get a good coach and you get a good 3-4 players on that team, you can really drive through the season. And then it's all-stars. Our all-stars are huge down here. I mean, when you go to the Little League World Series, when you're 12, it's like our Little League is every year trying to compete for that. Like, that's their goal.
right.
That's not necessarily your goal up in small town LaGrange.
Yeah.
Because you just don't have the numbers to compete.
Well, I mean, it's like even, historically looking at our classes, we're only graduating 120 maybe, and it's slowly getting smaller every year.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like our high school team right now, we have a very solid junior class. I mean, I'm not talking just for baseball, but I'm talking basketball and football too.
Yeah.
To where there's like 5 or 6, 7 kids that are they're all studs, So, I mean, right now they're kind of carrying the torch for all of our athletics. And,
That's good.
Once they get out of there, I mean, you might have 2 or 3 kids in the next class underneath of them and another 2 or 3 in the, as you keep walking it down. And it's, we don't have, we'll do football, and I mean, Noah might not even play football this year because we might not have enough kids.
Right.
I mean, that's taking the 7th and 8th grade together,
Yeah. Jeez.
as one team, So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, Little League's different. It's done different up there. Here we have our Little League is done in Seabrook, right?
Yep.
And you have all the kids from this zoned area.
Right.
And then we call it Bayside Little League, right? Then in Bayside, then you have all these teams. There might be 7 or 8 teams in this league. Where up north, it's a Little League in Stroh, a Little League in Wolcaville, Hudson, Orland, and then you all have to travel to these little towns to play each other. So, and then once the season's done, then you all kind of combine to try to put one all-star team together and then go wherever. But I love being able to just be centralized. I mean, I do also remember the times when I would travel to Hudson.
Right.
Those
were the good old days.
Yeah, those were the good old days. That was like, I felt like a sports team in a state, But that's just because those towns are spread out.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough kids.
Yeah, because I mean, even we play in the Northeast Baseball League now. It used to be Noble LaGrange League, and back in the day we had Lima Brighton, LaGrange, Wolcaville, Rome City, Milwaukee, Kimmel, Cromwell, Albion, Avayla, Wolf Lake, things like that, to where, I mean, Cromwell doesn't have anything, Ligonier don't have anything. I mean, they've all kind of just consolidated into the school, And I think, I don't know.
I think that the schools need to pour a little bit more into the little leagues, to the rec leagues. If you want to bolster that program, your presence is huge. Same here. Like our high school is League City, the League City Little League, and then there's the Seabrook Little League. That coach needs to be going out there and just being part of the festivities. Same with Clear Falls or whatever, and just pouring into Bayside and Dickinson, just to drum it up. Have your players out there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's one of the biggest things I've been a proponent of, even in our school system, is like, you guys as varsity coaches, it all starts at the youth level.
yeah,
If you're not building at the youth level at the second graders and third graders, then you're not going to have very much at the older levels when they get there. Tim Sirk, who was my basketball coach when I played, my senior year would have been his third year coaching. And at that time, he started building our youth program for basketball. And I mean, it worked. I mean, he spent a lot of time, but that was his passion.
right.
And ultimately, he got cancer and ended up passing away. And, we've had several other coaches that have come through the pipeline, since then, that never really, it's like, okay, guys, we're going to have a 4-week in-house basketball league, and, we'll practice once a week and have games on Saturday, and that's all we're going to do, and it's not, camps throughout the summer and doing things like that. I like to coach, but I'd rather sit back and watch. And one year, I think it was Noah was in 4th grade, but he played up to the 5th grade because we started tackle at 5th grade. And they didn't have anybody to coach, and the guy that was in charge of it wanted me to do it, and I'm like, I'll do it, So I got a couple guys to help me. And where we practiced at on our football practice field, the high school was practicing before us. So we'd get done at like 5:30. We'd have our practice at 6. So in the area where we would all get together, get everybody's equipment on, and get everybody snapped up, get them ready to go, was right where all the varsity team, the high school team would walk. And it just frustrated me so bad to where you have all these little 4th and 5th, 6th graders standing there, looking up. They look up to these high school kids.
For sure.
And they break down at their practice, and they walk right through everybody, coaches and everybody. And they never really, unless you personally know a family, like, hey, that's my cousin to play,
Right.
and they're going to stop W up or, whatever. But they just literally walk right through and like you're nobody.
Hype them up
right.
or anything.
It's like, man, just take 5 minutes and stay after and get these kids interested and show them they're appreciative and, or whatever. And maybe one day you'll have a program.
Right. Yeah, that's big.
But I mean, it's like, you can't really compare, but I mean, heck, when I played high school, there was probably 40, I would say at least 50 kids, now we're in like the 30s.
Yeah.
We're slowly just losing interest of kids for whatever reason that it is.
Yeah. So I didn't play football. I played baseball and I wrestled. Wrestling now in like the Prairie Heights area has grown tremendously because they're putting on youth camps.
Yes.
What it is it's a direct correlation from, which is my cousin Brett Smith, who is actually coming down and putting on these organizations, these things, and then coaching his style, and then that coaching style goes all the way through elementary, middle school, high school, and then it's already embedded in these kids. Right. The theology of how he wants them to wrestle, now Brett's out of it, but he's still helping out and doing that. So I love to see that about the wrestling program, but that's how every program should be done.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, like I said, a lot of these coaches, I don't know how much they get paid. You could look it up online and the public records and see how much each coach makes, but
not much.
It's not much.
No.
Especially for the amount of time that they're putting in and whatever else, not including the time in the off season and the summer, the spring, fall, when their sport's not even a session, and working with these kids and getting them and grooming them and showing them what they need to do.
And now on top of that, they have to teach class.
Yes.
Right? So you can't be a head coach unless you're a teacher. which is also tough. That's not necessarily the situation here in Texas for a lot of things. Now it is for baseball, but like when you get into football, it's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah,
You know?
football's everything. Right?
They can make you a position.
Win at all costs.
Yeah. But
I've seen several movies on
yeah,
that.
oh yeah, Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
But it's like I look at the Prairie Heights website for coaches, and I'm like, well, you know, that'd be awesome to move back home and coach at my alma mater, and I'm like, $4,000 a year, or you know, $8,000 a year. No, I'm good.
I mean, you got to be very passionate, you know, to do it. I mean, it's like our baseball coach. Good. I mean, he ran our league, the Wilkeville League for numerous years, and you know, a great dude. You know, his sons got into high school. You know, they had an opening, so he applied and got it.
Yeah.
And he's been the coach ever since. You know, his kids don't play.
Right.
They're all graduated. They're all out of the system.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool because I think that, you know,
It's a form of giving back.
right.
You know.
And hopefully, you know, he sticks around for a couple more years, and you know, Noah gets up in there. But like I said, I have no intentions of coaching, and I'd rather sit back and watch. But I mean, like I said, if you were the coach and you come to me and said, hey, do you mind helping?
Yeah.
You know, I can't pay you much, or I can't pay you nothing, or whatever else. I mean, it's like, I can't turn it down.
Right.
You know.
Right.
As a volunteer assistant or things like that.
I'm the same way. You know, I'm right now. I didn't get paid to coach anyways, but
Right.
I'm now at the point where I had to step back and be the fan,
Yeah.
not the coach, and I'm learning how to deal with that with Game Changer and just staying busy and stuff, you know. But yeah, like I'm just chomping at it. But somebody asked me to help. Somebody asked me to help.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, looking back, you know, last year the travel team that Noah was on last year, the head coach at the time, he didn't have anybody, or he said he had somebody lined up, but he was the only one showing up to practice. And, you know, you got 13 kids or 12 kids, and you're trying to do this and do that with them. And, you know, finally one day we had the opportunity to stay after practice and use the cage for a little bit, just Noah and I think Sam was there, and he come walking by, and I'm like, hey man, if you need help at practice, just tell me what you want done, and we'll do it. We'll get it done. I said, you're in here with all these kids trying to run multiple stations by yourself. I said, it's not going to work. I said, just, you know, so that started, you know, back in November. And then, you know, as the time went along, we get into January, he's like, hey man, you just want to be my assistant? And I'm like, sure. Great, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, sitting in the stands and sitting on the sideline or in the dugout or whatever, I mean, it's two different perspectives.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, you miss a lot of stuff sitting right here, being that close to the action, to where, you know, if you are in the stands, you can, you're like, hey, you know, I mean, I've done it this year. I mean, we got one kid he's a left-handed pitcher, and I mean, he's a good pitcher. But a lot of times when he steps or comes down the mound, he's actually opening up too far, crossing center line, and that's just throwing everything off, you know. So I'll be in the middle of a game, I'll take a video of it real quick, and I'll run over to the dugout, and I'll be like, hey Joe, like, check this out real quick. It's like, oh man, that's okay, yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you know, picking up on a lot of little knacks off to the side where these guys can't see.
Yep.
You know, really helps and it makes a difference.
Yeah, the flip side of that coin though is being in the stands. You also don't know what the inner workings of what's going on the field.
Right.
Right. And this is where parents get a lot of the anger and stuff. It's like there's strategy that goes in with the game, right?
Yes.
Especially when you have arms, you're trying to figure out pitching and positions, because some players are only going to be able to play one position. You know, they might not be able to play in the outfield, so you have to strategically play these kids where it works in, right?
Yes.
And your parents don't understand that, and we've already talked about it as a team, and everybody's cool with it, even the kids, and then you have the parents that are complaining.
Yeah, I've said this for numerous years. If I had the money or the opportunity to do it, I would go from dugout to dugout and just make it glass.
Yeah, so there's no sound that comes through.
Make it glass, an enclosure behind it to where all the parents go in there and just let the kids play.
Yeah, like
You know?
hockey.
Yeah, because I mean, I see a lot of it too, even in travel ball, not just in rec ball too, but it's like, all right, you know, Jimmy, get in the box,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he'll take a stride or take a ball or whatever, and he'll take one step out, and the first thing he does is look back at the fence to see what mom and
or
dad have
dad's-
to say about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, God, it just frustrates me, It's like, parents, just step back and let your kids
Please.
let them fail.
Yes.
Okay. Baseball, you are going to fail probably 70% of the time, if not 80.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the batting averages of these guys that are making millions of dollars a year. You're going to fail. Let your kids fail. It's going to be okay. I promise you.
That's it. Most of them have failed 70% of the time.
Right. And I mean, even going back to, some of these age groups. I mean, it's like, the little league that I'm a part of, I'm on the board of directors for our Northeast Indiana League. And I had to do the 8U championship game the weekend before last weekend, and on a Saturday. And I mean, it's like, guys, I mean, they come out and they're like, we want to check all the bats, make sure we're not using illegal bats. We want to do, and I'm like, guys, this is just 8U. Like, we're not going to hand out a World Series championship, or nobody's going to get a scholarship or anything like that. I mean, it's like, just pump the brakes a little bit. I mean, I know you guys are competitive and want to win, but don't make it that.
Right.
If you're all about winning, then these kids they're not going to grow, and they're not going to get any better.
No, there's going to be a lot of complaining.
And I mean, it's even like, I don't know how the PG, you guys play a lot of PG tournaments, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the pitching guidelines for pitchers on that?
So per weekend, like a tournament.
Yeah, or how do you?
So they can't pitch more than 100 pitches a weekend.
Okay.
And you can't pitch back-to-back games. So you cannot pitch back-to-back games through the weekend. So if a pitch game 1, he can pitch game 3.
Right.
Okay. Because you know how Sundays there might be 4 games, 5 games. Right. But you can pitch every other as long as you're under your or so many outs.
Yeah, so
27 outs.
So a lot of the tournaments that we follow or participate in are USSSA, to where you have, if you pitch over 3 innings or if you go into 3 innings or more, you have to take a day off.
So our little league is similar to that. It's not on innings pitch, it's on pitch. So there's a pitch count. So 20 pitches. If you pitch more than 20 pitches, you have to take a day off.
Okay.
If you pitch more than 35 pitches, you have to take 2 days off, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so the last 2 tournaments that we played in were baseball. It's BPA, Baseball Players Association. Mm-hmm. Their only stipulation was no more than 10 innings.
Okay.
For the weekend.
10 innings. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like, why would you even?
Well, you could have a 45 pitch inning.
Correct. And so they just went by 10 innings. And I'm like, this is not right, guys.
No.
You got guys, kids, 12-year-old kids that are out there struggling and throwing, you allow them so many innings, but still they're throwing 70 pitches in 3 innings.
Yeah.
And then, I can still use them tomorrow, or I can still use them tonight, or, whatever else. And it's like, guys, you have to start, some of these youth coaches have to really evaluate their philosophy.
Yeah, and the pros even talk about how the arms are just demolished by the time they get up to the show, or even college. High school is, one of the things about our high school that I loved is he told us that I think last year or this year, not one of his kids pitched more than, I want to say, I don't know what the number, I'm just going to say a number, it's going to be wrong, but just a small number, like nobody pitched more than 100 pitches, right, for the season. That's probably wrong, but it was something like that, and I was like, that's arm care.
Yes.
That he is developing those kids to go further into their future. Mm-hmm. You brought up the batting, looking at mom and dad. Remember Avayla? We're going to call out the Burtons right here. So Avayla, that's what she would do. She'd get up there, she'd either take a hack or watch a pitch, and she'd turn around and look at mom. And mom would be like, head down, or whatever. And this is in Little League.
Yeah.
And me and Kyra have a great relationship. And I would, every time she would look over to her mom, I'd be, Avayla, right here, I'm your coach. You're not looking to the stands. They're not your coach. And I can say that because Kyra would be like, oh, I'm sorry, coach. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it's like, because, Kyra played softball. She understands the game, but it's just you have to let that go. Just be a fan. Because I'll tell you right now, you not think that she was nervous at that plate because mom is watching and she's like critiquing her every move.
Right.
They don't need that extra pressure.
So I can't remember the guy's name on Facebook, but they're from down like Florida, Louisiana, somewhere down in there. Does a lot of travel ball stuff, or a lot of videos on the travel ball side of it.
Is it MP3?
Darker color guy. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he did a video. I saw it last week, and he's like, showing it at the tournament that he was at and was walking around, and he's like, what's going on down here? He's like, this is like the 13U division, and like nobody's got tents set up and no speakers and everybody's sitting in bleachers, no chairs, things like that. And he goes, it's quiet. What's going on? And then he kind of walked it down, and he's like, well, here we are with our 8U'ers. And they got tents lined up all the way around the field and all this stuff. And he goes, they got it figured out.
Yeah.
Moms and dads are all quiet and just let them play the game and
Yep.
not getting all excited about stuff. But yeah, it's pretty comical.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff on social media with this select ball, with the MP3s, the daddy ball guy.
Yep.
I
think that's who it is.
Is that who it is, the daddy ball guy? Yeah, he's so funny. But anyways, yeah, man, there's a lot going on. Youth sports is a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Oh yeah.
But we all have to deal with it. Just make it easier on your kids, and don't talk about the game afterwards.
It's hard not to.
It is, unless, so we talked about this on the last podcast, or last episode we had, is there is a coaching portion of that if they want it. If they don't want it, don't talk about it. And don't talk about the errors. Praise the successes.
Yeah.
That's all we try to do.
Yeah, I saw another video one time where I think it was the dad was the coach of his son's team, and he said that him and his son had a deal to where once the game was over with, they get into the car, and if one of them takes the hat off and sets it up on the dash, no baseball talk.
Because that's coach's hat, right? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
He's like, now I'm dad.
Right, now I'm just a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with a kid, to where if he if he
Oh.
didn't want to talk about the game or whatever, he would
take
take
his
it
hat.
off and put it off.
That's
and
good.
then, to where okay, at some point we're going to talk about it,
Yeah.
but we're not going to talk about it right now, fresh off of whatever just happened,
Yeah, that's good.
So, kind of separating, and because I have a really bad problem with it, to where I'm just, I just want to just slap him right now, but
Right.
I'd never do that.
No. Yeah.
But it's like, us dads have wisdom,
Right?
But
But they don't want to hear it.
but no, their way's better. So
They know better. Well, all right, Chris, we've talked for about an hour or so.
Yeah,
You got anything
good
else
deal.
you want to chat about?
we could spend all day in here talking about stuff. But
True story. So, as we wrap this up, I do want to say one thing. I want to talk about one thing. Over the 4th of July, we had a big flood come through Central Texas, over by Kerrville. The floods devastated that area. The Mystic Camp, with all those campers, the kids that were had to experience that fear, and it's just heartbreaking. Our hearts go out to you all. Prayers for everybody out there that's affected by this. We just want to send our heartfelt condolences out to everybody. It's just absolutely awful, and it's hard to fathom having kids. We have kids. If they were out away for summer camp, away from home, and this happened to them. But yeah, hopefully they find everybody that's out there. I know we're upwards of 50 plus that are missing and passed away. So let's just hope they find everybody out there.
yes,
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Make sure you check out our socials. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can email us at thegradapodcast@gmail.com. We'll be back maybe next week, maybe a week after that, with another podcast. I don't know. I got some good ones coming up. Good guests getting ready to come on. maybe once I get it locked in, I'll kind of share that before they get here. But secret. So, thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. Love each other.
You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed.